Oh, hello. How's it going, people? Welcome to the stream. Welcome. Hope everyone's got a fantastic day. Tuesday, the 14th of October. We are here. We are live at the same time as I'm live, of course. England is playing against Latvia. Rice Saka are playing against my national team. So, not expecting much, but maybe it will be something good. Who knows? We will see, obviously. But for today, we're gonna talk about Victor Gyokeres. I'm not gonna lie, I was thinking about this overall and decided to have a discussion. Is it time to worry about Gyokeres? Is it too early? Can it be changed? As I just say, his fortunes can be changed, or under Arteta, he's destined basically to be like he is right now. Literally 7 games in, 3 goals, which on paper value, to be honest, is, can I say, even not that bad? Because if he keeps at this rate, he will score about 18 goals. I'm not expecting him to score 30 this season or anything in Premier League, at least. My expectations were 20 plus in Premier League, 30 plus in all competitions. And yeah, it is a bit of a question mark right now. Obviously, to some extent, it's very too early to judge. And we're going to talk about all that, of course. And obviously, we're going to talk about something that goes in together with that is Mikel Arteta, because we all know Mikel Arteta's favorite target instead of Gyokeres. We all know that we all know that we are not playing to help him. Let's just put it that way. And only time will tell. Only time will tell overall. But definitely, we're going to get into all that, of course. But overall, yeah, for today, what else we're gonna talk about? Time only will tell. It will develop, because I don't have anything else besides Gyokeres. I have an idea, a short I saw today on YouTube, which really pissed me off, to be honest. But we'll see if we get to that in a second. But yeah, smash the like, people. Subscribe if you're new, and let's get into it. Big up Mubarak. Big up. Gyokeres not scoring well. It doesn't mean that he's a bad player. Exactly. At the end of the day, exactly. Gyokeres not scoring doesn't mean it's a bad player, because there are quite a few variables, let's just say, that need to be included and discussed in this regard, and we definitely gonna do that today. Fans should looking at the pressure Gyokeres attributes on defenders. Yeah, definitely there are some things Gyokeres does off the ball. I get it. But obviously, Gyokeres is a striker, a goal-scoring striker, and his primary function should be scoring goals. And the issue that he's not even getting a certain amount of chances already is a bit of a worry. Let's just put it that way. Big up, not Brett May. Gyokeres is not shit. He's not shit whatsoever. Don't even push that narrative as much as you like. If you're a Sesko fan, just say it and just keep it as it is. He's not flopped the season. Season hasn't been even over, so you cannot judge. Let's just put it that way. Big up PW. Big up PW. Hope you're doing well. Hope you are doing well today, my guy. Hope everything is well with you too today. So we'll see where we land, where this leads us. But yeah, obviously, a few days ago, we had the legend that is BBK on this stream. And basically what we talked about for a brief bit was Gyokeres. How worried am I specifically? He asked me this question, how worried I am about Gyokeres at the moment at Arsenal, his goal-scoring record currently at Arsenal, how he has been integrated into the team, and the fact that, how he's doing at Arsenal in general. And he asked, how worried am I about Gyokeres? And I basically said I'm worried in terms of out of 10. I said 6 out of 10, which overall people would say could be a bit high. I'm not gonna lie, people could be saying it's a bit high, but for me, it's not as much, to be honest, as Gyokeres himself, because obviously everyone can see that his link-up play is not it. Let's just say it as it is, and whether you like Havertz or not, Havertz has better link-up play than Gyokeres. The issue about Gyokeres for me is the fact that, he doesn't even get the chances. That for me is the other thing. He has got a few. He has scored obviously 3 goals in Premier League. He has got a few chances. But overall, he's not getting fed the ball. And that, for me, is a bigger worry than anything, because how can you judge a striker when he doesn't have a sometimes shot on target? You could argue that a striker should be creating for himself, but how can he even, he doesn't have the abilities, technically, to create for himself to that extent. He's not Thierry Henry, for example. Let's be real if you do those comparisons, but he also doesn't have that ability. We also don't play the style that would be suiting Gyokeres, where it's some open spaces, open times, and everything. Because teams tend to sit low against us, sit at the back, and that means for us that we are screwed. To some extent, we are actually royally screwed, if you want to think about it that way. Because Gyokeres needs some spaces. Gyokeres definitely needs some spaces, and that definitely is a worry in those terms. So, yeah, and playing, of course, Merino in the 10, right behind him, which we all know that Merino is not a 10, let's just say it as it is, and he doesn't get the ball in those terms also, is not helping his case whatsoever at all, to be honest. Big up PW once again. Gyokeres had 2 shots at goal versus Latvia. He hasn't even played against Latvia. He played against Kosovo. He played against, well, let me check the Sweden schedule. He didn't even play against us. He was playing against, where is it? He played against Kosovo. He played against Slovenia. He played against Switzerland. He didn't even play against us. I think you mean Kosovo, could be. 1 on target against Switzerland. Sweden had 0 shots on target. Yes, I'm concerned, Gyokeres. I admit he wasn't my choice. Who was your choice, PW? Just out of curiosity, who was your choice for the main striker? Yeah, Kosovo. Exactly. That's what I thought. But yeah, who is your number 1 choice for a striker if Gyokeres was not your choice? Because the obvious answer, I would expect you to say Sesko, because many Arsenal fans were still believing in the Sesko hype. Let's just put it that way. So I want to see if you also were on the Benjamin Šeško train. Let's just put it. Sorry, Šeško, as it should be saying, as many top Gooners are saying to pronounce it properly. Are you one of those that were on the Šeško train, or were you on somebody else even? Because there were quite a few strikers we could have signed before summer, before we signed Gyokeres this summer. We had a chance to sign even some strikers before, and we just obliviously chose not to. We much rather sign our left back, our midfielder, defender, goalkeeper. We much rather went for those than actually signing another striker. So I'm very curious to see what you actually want to, who did you envision for Arsenal to sign? At least for me, that would be very interesting to see and have a debate over that, of course. Let's just put it that way. So yeah, let me know in the chat. But Gyokeres overall, is it a worry? I would say it is a worry, but it shouldn't be a worry to that extent that other people are suggesting. Let's just put it that way, because people already are saying that Gyokeres should be dropped as soon as Havertz comes back, fully dropped. Havertz starts every single game for the next 10 games, 15 games. That for me is very, well, I'm not going to say dumb, but that seems like a ludicrous suggestion. Let's just put it that way. Merino up top, no thanks, no chance in hell. Martinelli up top would be another option we could explore. But Arteta doesn't envision Martinelli as a striker, which is a bit of a weird one, because for Brazil, to be honest, Brazil today lost 3-2 to Japan, right, in the international friendlies. And Martinelli played at striker. Yes, he got taken off for Rodrigo, but Martinelli, when he was playing at striker, he actually scored a goal today for Brazil. So for me, that is another question. Why the hell he is not being played at striker? That for me is another question, which again makes me question certain aspects of the game that people are suggesting and trying to push on us. Like, if we are looking from that point of view. Turkey is 1-0 up. Yildiz scored again, man. I would love for Yildiz to be at Arsenal. I would love for Arsenal to sign Yildiz, by the way. I'm just looking through international games while we take a step back, basically a brief step back before we continue to talk about Gyokeres and everything, right? For me, the thing is, these are internationals happening right now. Turkey 2-0 up against Georgia, against Kvaratskhelia FC. Spain are still 0-0 against Bulgaria. With Yamal's injury, they are struggling a bit. If I'm not mistaken, Yamal is still injured. Let me check quickly, because I know Yamal was injured and he didn't play for Barcelona as well, hence why Rashford was playing right wing. Yeah, Oyarzabal is playing right wing, and they have actually sort of a main shift attack, to be honest. Let's just put it that way. Yeah, Portugal 1-1 against Hungary. Portugal that just scored. Cristiano Ronaldo scored for Portugal. Shalai scored for Hungary. Interestingly enough, England still hasn't scored against us, against my national team. So that is a bit of a weird one. So it is a weird one, to be honest, because I would expect at least England to score some goals, but they're not. They haven't scored. It's still 0-0. Like, let me quickly, before we return to Gyökeres, right? Look at the stats. Well, you have had 74% possession, so that, yeah, 7 shots, 0 on target. So not the greatest of the situations at the moment happening there. I'm just gonna put it that way. But yeah, people, back to Gyokeres talk. You won't want. I'm not saying I don't want to hear it. I totally get the reasons why some people want Sheshko. Sorry, Sheshko, Setsko. I'm sick and tired of Canton trying to correct my pronunciation. Let's just put it that way. But yeah, I'm not against other people's opinions. I'm definitely not. I'm just gonna say it as it is. Sesko is taller and faster, more agile, and 5 years younger. Could keep his sell-on value. Yeah, in those terms, I absolutely get. In those terms, I absolutely get. For me, one of the main reasons, some of the main reasons why personally I wanted Gyokeres over Sheshko was because first things first, Gyokeres has proven that he can score goals. Sheshko hasn't, right? Second of all, Gyokeres is a win now type of striker. Win right now type of striker. Sheshko is, obviously we cannot say with 100% certainty that he's not a win now striker, but he definitely is not this season, maybe next season. Basically, in a few seasons, ready striker. And Arsenal are in such a state, for me personally, as a team specifically, that we need to win now. In few years, it will be too late in certain aspects of the game. It might be too late, and I wanted to see this win right now. Because also, signing Sheshko, for example, as Mikel Arteta wanted, would give Mikel Arteta time to figure out how to play with the striker, right? Because let's be real, Mikel Arteta has never coached an out-and-out striker in this game. So he doesn't know actually how to use him. England scored, for fuck's sake. England just scored. Arteta hasn't coached a striker, so it would give him time. But Arsenal are not in a position to have the time. That is, for me, the biggest thing. Anthony Gordon scored for England. 1-0 England. Well, that happened. As I said, they haven't scored, they score. Martinelli did okay as a 9 in the past, exactly. Especially under Unai Emery. He did very well as a number 9. The issue is that Mikel Arteta doesn't see him as a 9 because whenever Arteta actually has played Martinelli as a 9, which I have to admit hasn't been a lot, it has been literally, compared to all the games Martinelli has played for Arsenal at left wing, is nothing. Let's just put it that way, right? But that Martinelli as a 9 has been much, much more influential. He's more of a proper striker that you can get in behind, run behind defenders' backs. He has some abilities, better passing and everything. If, for example, we had a strike, if we play, let's just say 4-4-2, two-striker dynamic of Gyokeres and Martinelli, that actually could potentially work. Big up Gooner SC. Big up, big up, big up, big up, big up. You guys are playing England now. Are you even bothered to watch the game? Not so much. I would watch it, but at the same time, like, I know we're going to lose, first things first. Second of all, it's going to be at least 3-0, I would expect. Third of all, Saka and Rice are playing. Would be nice to watch that, but yes, Tuchel football still doesn't convince me. Fourth of all, our national team is not the greatest. It's like 137th in the FIFA rankings or something like that. Let me check where we are. According to FIFA rankings, right? In men's football, we are exactly, as I said, 137th in the world. We are behind teams like Faroe Islands, Kuwait, and we are behind, and we are ahead of teams like Botswana and Turkmenistan. Like, it doesn't fill me with confidence. I know that my national team is not great. Our midfield is lacking heavily. Our defense could be decent on a certain day, and our attack is not clinical enough to score goals. And if you combine our attack with our midfield, we don't have enough to create proper chances. We play as a number 2 pretty much every single game. Last week, we drew 2-2 to Andorra, which pretty much proved that we don't know how to play as a number 1 team because we should be playing like the favorites against teams like that, and we just have no idea how to do so. And it proved massively when we drew to them 2-2. So in those terms, yeah, for me, the national team, I watch their games. I will watch the game on replay. I'm already telling you that much. but I'm not expecting big things, hence why I'm not too fussed about it, right? At the same time as well, if I had a chance to be right now live for 2 hours straight, I would be doing a watch along, but I cannot. I know how you feel, Ireland too, being losing against everyone. Like Ireland is a weird one. Like you have sort of a potential, but you never fulfill it. Like that for me is also a weird one. You have some very good players, like the game against Portugal, right? Kelleher saves Ronaldo's penalty and everything. It's fantastic. But then in the last seconds, it's a dagger and everything, and you lose. It's painful, right? I just wish you would be scoring more. And I think that is one of the biggest things that's lacking in your department. At the moment, you're playing Armenia. It's a 0-0 game. But because if you look at Ireland's lineup, Kelleher in goal, great. O'Brien, Collins, O'Shea. I wouldn't say O'Shea is the best center back choice as a 3 at the back. But let's just say it is what it is. We allow it, right? Manning, decent. Malumbi, Smallbone. Coleman is still in the team. It's also not great. I'm kind of surprised, for example, McAteer is not playing. Parrott maybe even. Taylor would be an interesting one. Ebosele, decent. Azaz, for me, also is not it. And of course, Ferguson, a young player that had more hype than actual ability, and unfortunately, he hasn't fulfilled it. Maybe, just maybe, just maybe at Roma, he can do it. Maybe, just maybe. Under Gasperini, but so far it is a bit of a hit and miss. You need to get your ash together, let's just put it that way. Big up Hendon, hope you're doing well. Ireland 2 is playing right now, but I'm not even bothered to watch the game. Yeah, like to some extent, when you lose the chance to qualify for the World Cup or Euros, you lose interest a bit, I'm not gonna lie. The thing is about my national team, I never expect us to qualify, right? And I still watch them, which is kind of weird. I know it, but it is what it is. In those terms, it's a nuts one. We don't need to worry about Gyokeres. We need to worry about Arteta. I could understand if Gyokeres was missing loads of serves. Yeah, exactly. He isn't getting any decent service as well, and that is one of the biggest things. He's not even getting chances to miss. Even if he doesn't score, Gyokeres is not getting chances even to miss. He literally, how can you get any chances when you have Merino playing number 10 most of the games and you play defensive football? Like, let's just put it that way. Like, and how can you get any chances when nobody's playing to your strengths, nobody's adjusting the game and not adjusting to your style, and you basically nick games, literally nick wins from corners. Let's just put it in those terms, yeah. See, this is why I don't like international football. Yeah, I know, I get it. I absolutely get it. I don't mind international football, but the thing is, like, when your national team is not great and it's very suspect, it's questionable, it's not the greatest, it is a painful watch. I'm not gonna lie, it is a painful watch to say the least. Obviously, we also are a small team, nation-wise, and we have also an unknown manager for most people. Like, and we have had few good years. In 2000s, we had good years. We qualified for Euros as well in 2004 and everything when we had the best generation, arguably, well, not arguably, but definitely I have ever seen in my country's football history as an independent sovereign nation and everything. But overall, yeah, it has gone downhill. It's on a bit of an uprise, but it's still going downhill. Let's just put it that way. Big up Nems. Hope you're doing well. You guys would probably still be no chance. We don't have the abilities. Unfortunately. No matter how you look at it, you will beat us. When was the last time we played Ireland? When was the last time we played Ireland? Our national. We have played 6 games against you lot. 6 games. 6 games we have played against Ireland. We have lost all 6. 4-0, 2-0, 3-0. And 2-1 in the 90s, 3-0 in the 2013, and the latest one that was 2.5 years ago, actually, it was 3-2 when we played you in Ireland. That was one of the wonder goals that I think it was Robert Aldrich who scored from about 35-40 yards out, a banging long shot. Can't believe Sweden lost to Kosovo and the Faroe Islands beat Czech Republic. That Ireland, Faroe Islands beating Czech Republic, it is a shock. At the same time, I have a friend who is from Czech Republic. He's a Czech Republic fan and everything. Obviously, he focuses more on NHL and all this stuff, but he watches football. He also, like, we are good friends. We haven't spoken as much in the last few years because obviously families and everything. Just had a baby. He's thinking about he's buying a house and all this stuff. All the grown-up stuff. Let's just put it that way. But one of the biggest things I have noticed, and quite another Czech Republic fans say, that the manager of Czech Republic is utter ass. That guy needs to go right now. That is one of the biggest issues for them. And Sweden losing to Kosovo. Kosovo actually has very decent players. They have very, very good players, to say the least, to be honest, if you ask me. And very underrated players, right? Sweden, though, like, with Sweden, the issue is that Sweden arguably only has strikers, Gyökeres and Isak. Maybe Hein at center back, and that's about it. Bergvall is an upriser, right? Just like, what's its face? Elanga, for example. But besides that, they have nothing. The fall from grace for Sweden, from what it used to be, and it was a dangerous team to play with, all of Mulberg, Larsson, Ibrahimovic, and all these guys, it's not the same. Elmanders and all these players, it's not the same. They definitely have a fall from grace in those terms, 100%. Rashford isn't playing and Eze isn't playing. Yeah. Saka and Rice are starting, though. Saka and Rice are starting, though. So, interesting. Oh, my God. People. Oh. Prepare for our fan base to go in a frenzy. Prepare for Arsenal fan base to go in a frenzy. Because Mikel Merino has scored for Spain. Which means we're going to hear this quite a bit once again after international break. Oh, what a fantastic international break he had. He scored and everything, and he was phenomenal and all this stuff. He has scored again. De La Fuente is working magic with Mikel Merino. But that also doesn't mean he's going to be good for Arsenal, because De La Fuente knows how to use the players. Arteta, unfortunately, doesn't. If England go 2 goals up or so, I hope Tuchel will sub off Rice and Saka. Well, that is the hope, to be honest. That is the hope. I love watching my country play. US plays Australia tonight. Interesting. Wait, Mabas, you're from USA or Australia? Because I know many USA fans who genuinely dislike Pochettino at the wheel. Quite a bit. Yeah, club football is back this weekend, 100%. Been to 2 national team games, Brazil and Panama. Ooh, Brazil, that's a great one, to be honest. Both were great games. People come from across country. I don't blame them. Watching Brazil, it's one of those things, like, even if Brazil is not in the greatest states currently, watching still going to a Brazil game has sort of a unique feel to it. The aura, as people like to say. Is the friendly? Yeah, most likely. We don't need qualifiers. Yeah, see, Hendon, Mabas from USA, as a host nation, they don't need to even participate in qualifiers, which means more countries, some random ones, will be in there. English fans, the only ones that hate internationals, they need harder qualifiers. Yeah, true. Yeah, Elanga, exactly. They didn't say anything about Gyokeres last night. Yeah, they generally don't. But for me, I don't judge players by international break. For me, it's kind of irrelevant in those terms, because you could have fantastic international games, but for club, you can be absolutely useless. Like, for me, international games, there are players that play insanely well for international team, but don't perform to the same level for the club. And vice versa, to be honest. There are players that perform fantastically for the club and don't perform for the national team. And for me personally, if we talk about great for the club and not as good for national team, for example, for me, one of the prime examples is Lewandowski, no matter how you look at it. Because Lewandowski played for Borussia Dortmund with that Polish right side, like Blaszczykowski and Piszczek, just for Bayern Munich, of course, and Barcelona. And if you look what players surround Lewandowski in those teams, and then you compare to players what surrounds him at Poland, like, it's night and day. And that is one of the reasons why I don't judge the international games, first of all. And second of all, the same can be applied also to Gyökeres in Sweden, personally, for me. Because Sweden is not it. Let's be real. For me, Sweden, is not it. Let's just put it that way, whatsoever. And on top of that as well, for Arsenal don't utilize Gyökeres properly. Arteta hasn't figured how to use a striker properly. And that as well is playing against Arsenal than more than in favor of Arsenal. So that is another issue for me personally in terms of how we're utilizing Gyökeres. People want to say Gyökeres is a flop and all this stuff. Let them say that. I don't give a flying F. I'm not going to lie. Genuinely don't give a flying damn about people saying that. Because people have their own opinions and everything, so we'll see. Because let them be. Let them be, because for me personally, until either Arteta changes or we get a new manager, we won't see the best of Gyokeres, in my opinion at least. And for Sweden, well, it's Sweden, so it is what it is. It has weight. Pogba was the big one, always great for country, not for Man U, but Man U ruins players. So yeah, Man U ruins players. That is a big asterisk you can put by every player. Like if you look at players like Depay and all these men, like it's not great. Definitely not great. But for me, international games don't carry weight in terms of judging players how great they are. For me, in those terms. Because Arsenal signed Calafiori based on Euros hype. And some games at Bologna they maybe have watched. Merino was signed, I don't know, because Arteta has a fetish for players from Basque region, or again, from internationals, the goal he scored against Germany. Like, for me, it just doesn't feel right. In Gyökeres' case, he's struggling for ball, but he's still in the mix in the 6-month adaptation. Exactly. In those terms, yes. How comes people say, oh, Havertz needs 55 games, judge him them? Arteta said that himself. How comes people are not using the same narrative for Gyökeres and for other players? It makes no sense having these double standards, because Arteta said himself he signed Havertz to be a midfielder, and he flopped as a midfielder without shadow of doubt for me personally. And then he stuck him up top, and it worked. He hit a purple patch, and it worked towards the second part of the season, that one season. After that, it has been just, well, if it happens, it happens. If it doesn't, it doesn't. And he missed quite a few chances, let's just put it that way. And, if you want to give 55 games or 65, whatever Arteta said in those numbers, to Havertz, then give it to Gyökeres as well. Like, if you want to preach your savior, your Arteta Lord in those terms, then do it for Gyökeres as well. Genuinely do it for Gyökeres as well. But let's be real, people are going to call him a flop. People going to laugh at him. People going to laugh at Arsenal and everything until he starts scoring. Whether it's going to happen under Arteta or not, that's a completely different story at the end of the day. It might be just Arteta, or it actually, at the end of the day, after a year or year and a half, it might actually be Gyökeres himself, that he cannot carry the weight of the shirt of Arsenal, and he actually cannot perform for big teams. Because there are loads of players actually that can play very, very good for small teams. But as soon as they get that jump to a big top end club where the pressure is different, the demands and everything is tenfold harder and more pressure, they fall. There are lots of players like that as well, and we'll see. But for me, I'm still, yes, I am 6 out of 10 in terms of Gyökeres. I am 6 out of 10 in terms of Gyökeres, worrying. Because it's more obviously from the style and system that we play than anything. At the same time, Gyökeres also should be doing something himself. Doesn't mean exactly. I am criticizing him. You will not. I'm not that type of person who just defends him blindly like a moron. I'm not that type of person. I'm calling it out. I am calling it that out. Yeah, there were arguments that he would hit the ground running. Yes, there were. Yes. But I am calling that out, that he wasn't good. I said that he was in multiple games. He was shit. I said that. I'm calling him out also on the fact that his link-up play is awful. He has 2 literally bricks for legs. He cannot control a ball. His link-up play is worse than Havertz's, ironically enough, if you want to compare him with the strikers that we have at the moment in the team. Right? And maybe the fact that Havertz actually can do a link-up play better, or 2-0 England, then Havertz can do a better link-up play than Gyökeres, maybe allowed Havertz to be in those positions, where he missed the chances, which made me as a fan and many other Arsenal fans very, very frustrated with that. Hence why we were calling for a proper striker, right? At the same, and maybe that's why. But if we actually could create for Gyokeres properly, not just randomly cross the ball into nowhere, no man's land, and all this stuff, maybe if we could create properly for Gyokeres, maybe we would see it. We would see him scoring as well. Like, that is the other thing. 2-0 England, by the way, people. Harry Kane scored. Harry Kane has scored a goal. 2-0 England, almost pretty much on the stroke of half time. England in the first half have had 67% possession, 13 shots, 2 on target. That's about it. 2 on target. He had 1 good goal, 1 tap and 1 pity penalty. Yes, exactly. We wanted him to get another pity penalty for their FPLs. I get it. For me personally, that pity penalty, I wanted him to get it as well. Because somehow he needs to gain confidence. If you don't create for him on the pitch, give it to him at least the penalty. For me, it was never about FPL. I don't even have him in the FPL. I never had. For me, the issue is the fact that we gave Havertz a pity penalty when we just signed him against Brentford, if I'm not mistaken, it was. We don't do the same for Gyokeres, for example. Oh, we gave it to Saka so he has 100 goal involvements in 200 games. Who cares? At the end of the day. Oh, just because for the PR, for Sky Sports and all these dumbass PR machine places, 100 points in 200 games looks better on paper than 100 points in 106 games for 202 games or 203 games, for example. Oh, yeah, that's definitely. It was more for PR than anything why, for example, Saka took the penalty. But if you have an opportunity to give anyone some boost of confidence in any way, shape, or form, you should utilize it, in my opinion. You should utilize it and try to get it. In those terms, but hey. Big up, Sheldon. Big up, Sheldon. Hope you're doing well, my guy. Prime reason I wanted Gyokeres, we wanted someone to hit the ground running. It turns out he's a done. So far, yeah. So far, yes. Because Havertz has scored 1 good/great goal, right? Against Leeds. 1 was a tap-in, 1 was, as the Maba said, pity penalty, right? That's about it. If you take away all those things, he doesn't even had that many chances. Almost, you can count the chances he has had to score in the rest of the games on one hand's fingers, pretty much. He hasn't had the service as well. Obviously, he also doesn't have the room, the ability in Premier League to create for himself and try to go forwards like he did for Sporting. Let's be real. In Champions League, he at least scored. So maybe in Champions League, he bangs, and maybe then we can actually win it, which sounds preposterous to say because we are a team. We are arguably the biggest club that has never won it. That is in Champions League, arguably. So, yeah, it's a very, it's a very sketchy situation at the moment. It's not panic settings yet. It's not pissed off settings yet. But we are slowly moving into that area. The longer Gyokeres stays goalless, the longer he doesn't score, the more annoying, the more painful it will be. And the more resonance around him it will cause. Because if you look at even Gyokeres' last 8 games for club and country, last 8 games, right? It's not a great sight, is it? Last 8 games. He didn't score against Bilbao. He didn't score against City. He didn't score against Port Vale, where he should be bagging at least 2. He didn't score against Newcastle. He didn't score against Olympiacos, where he had at least 2-3 chances to score, and he didn't. The one chance the best chance he had, he basically hit it at the keeper, and Martinelli then tapped it in. Against West Ham, he didn't score. Against Switzerland and Kosovo, he also didn't score. And he didn't score yesterday as well. So he's on 9 games, isn't he, at the moment? That is, for me, the biggest issue here. Obviously, it's 3-0 England. 3-0 England at halftime. Told you we're going to get panned at least by 3. Harry Kane scored the penalty. Chernomordis handled the ball. Oh, for fuck's sake, moron. It's football, not volleyball, you know. We have 3 yellows All of our 3 out of 5 our defenders are on yellows. It's going really well. And now you see why I don't watch the games. Now you see why I don't watch the games as well. Because I expected it. Genuinely, I expected it. Nothing more, nothing less. I expected this result. Big up Fusion is not jazz. Big up. Nah, we're just talking about Gyokeres. Is it time to panic? Is it time to worry? And how it's going for Gyokeres at Arsenal currently. Voltemade kill. Yeah, Voltemade is decent. Voltemade looks very decent. What is Voltemade's record at Newcastle at the moment? Yeah, 4 games, 3 goals. That is decent. Voltemade in 4 games has scored the same amount that Gyokeres has scored in 7. Which is a worry. I'm not gonna lie, it is a worry. Obviously, Voltemade, to be honest, to a certain extent, right? Signing, for example, Voltemade to Arsenal, and in those terms also, where I agree with my boss and also PW in terms of signing Sesko, since we cross the ball to such high extent during games, plus we do the set piece crap and all this stuff, having a 6'5" to 6'6" player like Sesko or Voltemade up there would be much more prolific for us, without shadow of a doubt. That I definitely will agree upon. Chances come from good movement. This man's always wrestling the defenders. Yeah, he has had some good runs. I'm not gonna lie. He has had some good runs. 100%. It's the other side of the coin is the fact that our players don't find him. But how can you create anything for him when you have Merino playing in the 10? Right? When you have Martinelli on the left. Declan Rice and Zubimendi playing in the middle. There is no one who can create for Gyokeres, who can give that decisive pass. It's not a coincidence that arguably Gyokeres got his best chances this season, technically, was against Olympiacos, where Odegaard gave him 2-3 great through balls where he could run and try and run in behind defenders' backs, where they didn't sit back. It's not a coincidence. Arteta hasn't figured out over the last 3-4 years how to beat mid-low blocks. And now he buys a striker who needs some space for himself, despite the fact that he doesn't know how to beat mid-low blocks. And on top of that, he doesn't know how to coach a striker, because Arsenal have never had this type of striker under Arteta. He has never coached one at City or at Arsenal, which means he's also very clueless in that regard. Let's just put it that way. Big up Godfrey. Big up Godfrey. I'm good. Hope you're doing well. And yeah, by the way, going back to this as well, and we are in this position right now where it is a worry. He's doing the bare minimum at least. He's taking 2 defenders with him. Yeah. It should be helping Saka not getting triple teamed, for example. It should be giving Martinelli more room or Trossard more room on the wing. It should be freeing up Eze or Odegaard in the 10 as well, because defenders have extra person to pay attention to. But that's not enough. We didn't sign Gyokeres to take extra defender off another player. We signed Gyokeres to score goals. And strikers are getting judged by scoring goals. And so far, he hasn't done that. If Gyokeres doesn't bag against Fulham, I'm definitely worried he's going to get dropped for 29. Arsenal fans are calling for that already. There are quite a few Arsenal fans who are saying, as soon as Havertz is back, drop Gyokeres for 10 games. Already saying that. Great, Kane got his 2 stat pad goals. Media will be going crazy. Oh, 100%. He's going to be on the poster of the newspapers, on the socials. Harry Kane on the picture. Him celebrating scoring his penalty and everything. It's going to happen, definitely. Voltemade looks more mobile and imposes at corners. Oh, 100%. Voltemade is a unit. Voltemade is a unit. He's like 6'6". Voltemade is 6'6". If we wanted to persist with corners, long throws, all the crosses like we had 56 or something against Inter Milan last year, that type of football, might as well stand Voltemade then. Might as well done that. I don't think Sweden should be counted this. Exactly. I've been saying that for the longest time. Don't judge Gyokeres of Sweden's national team because they are not what they used to be. But to be honest, if you look at Premier League, 3 goals in 7 games also is not great. So it's going in both ways. But judging him off international should not be the case. They have two great strikers, Gyokeres and Isak. Bergwall hasn't developed yet, hasn't evolved, as Mikel would say, and they have Elanga. That's about it. They don't have the creative aspect. They don't have anything besides that, pretty much, in the team. Get Suck and Rice off in the second half. No need to play them. Yeah, play Skelly for the full 90 and take the rest of the two off. Definitely. Eddie Howe sets up Newcastle to play to Voltema's strengths. Exactly. And it works. I don't see Voltema tracking back and helping to defend. Exactly. Have we seen Mikel Arteta to set up the team and style to play to Gyokeres' strengths? No, we don't. We don't see that at all. Perhaps Amrin will do a swap. He wanted Gyokeres and we wanted Sesko. Only wish for no. He has 5 goals total, 4 for Newcastle, 1 for Germany. Yeah. I'm counting just Premier League. I'm not counting international games. I'm just counting Premier League. Premier League, he has 3 goals in 4 games. Overall, he has 4 and 1 in Champions League. Yeah. Do you think Saka is helping Gyokeres? Well, Saka is not playing, so we cannot even judge by that. Saka, what's his face? Madueke got injured. He got rushed back a bit. So he also is not fully fit. He doesn't look 100%. So Saka as well is a mystery. Saka is scheduled for and is bound to sign a new deal, right? How that will affect him, how that will affect Arsenal, how will the injuries affect his long-term career? That is also a big question for me. A big question. Merino at Spain is a new player. Every time he goes there, he cooks. Yeah, because De La Fuente knows how to use his players. He knows them. Because De La Fuente has coached all the Spain under 14s, 15s, under 16s, 17s, 18s, 19s, 20s, 21s, all the youngsters. So basically, he knows almost every single player who is in the team. So he knows their strengths, their weaknesses, how to play with them, and how to utilize them. It's a massive advantage, whether you like it or not. So yeah, De La Fuente knows just how to use them. Yeah, Sweden have just sacked their manager. Bergwall is the only one, to be honest. If you look at Sweden, as I said, Gyokeres, Isak, Bergwall in the future, and Elanga. That's it. For me, that's it. Rest of them are just maybe Kane at center back, right? Rest of them are just the worst thing, fans are saying they don't want him drop for Havertz. Are they mad? I don't want Havertz, but he is bare. Right. You the worst. I am the worst thing. Wait, what? Fans are saying they don't want him dropped for Havertz. Are they mad? I don't want Havertz, but he is there. In those terms, yes. 100%. The thing that makes Havertz technically look better in this team is the fact that Havertz has link-up play. He has bare passing, bare abilities on the ball, which also allows Havertz to get into positions sometimes to score certain goals. The issue with that is Havertz doesn't have the finishing touch, which really pissed us off last year when he missed these chances. That is the issue. Because Gyokeres has 2 bricks for legs, he doesn't have the link-up play. You need to deliver him either the ball to his feet so he can just one-touch bang, basically, or you need to have open play where he can utilize his strength, his speed, and attack the team on the back foot with like a steam locomotive. That's about it, unfortunately. But we do none of those. And obviously, striker needs some sort of a service because he's not good enough to create for himself consistently. And unfortunately, he doesn't even have the service as well. Yeah, big up Sachs. Big up. Also Kulusevski for Sweden, yeah. But yeah, they don't have much. Just because you're a striker doesn't mean it's going to be easy for you to score goals with Arteta's system. And I hate the system. Yeah, true. Yeah, exactly. Facts, exactly. Arteta's system doesn't suit the striker. Exactly. Hence why maybe having a more versatile player like we had Jesus, like when we have played on occasion Trossard there, now we play Havertz there, we look more dynamic because they have the passing ability. They are better with the dribbling, with the technical ability and the technical side of the ball. And they have better passing, of course, which allows them to control the ball better in tight spaces, which allows them to be more dynamic, which allows them to be more dangerous and maybe a bit more creative. Gyokeres doesn't have that, and I think that is also not helping us. The issue with this is that it's very hard to find a proper like false nine, number nine who has it all. Like obviously Benzema was one of them if you're looking from those terms. Dybala for me could have worked there. Firmino was the ideal example for those, right? But there are not many of those in that way. Yeah, I think both Kim and Havertz could work as a two. Yeah, if they worked both together, like in 4-4-2, 3-5-2, something like that, in those type of formations, I think there could be something to it. But we all know that that's not going to happen, unfortunately. So that is the other issue. And on top of that, if we start both Gyokeres and Havertz, we don't have a striker unless we play Martinelli there. That is the thing. Patrick Schick could have been good for us. Yeah, I can see that. But isn't Patrick Schick kind of injury prone? I think he's kind of injury prone, isn't he? Like not this summer when we just signed, right, Gyokeres, but the summer before. Yeah, he's very injury prone. He already is out with hamstring right now. Yeah, Schick is way too injury prone. But yeah, he's injured right now with a hamstring and he gets injuries quite a bit. But for me personally, like if we look at the summer before this one, right? We had chances to sign Gyökeres for 13 million, Boniface, Sorloth, Dovbyk, all those guys. Tony, obviously. Then we had offered Watkins in January and all this. We had chances. We had chances to sign certain players, mostly like, for example, Tony, who has actually decent passing, to be honest. Players that can actually help, who can do both. And unfortunately for Arsenal, the both strikers that we have, Gyokeres and Havertz, they excel at things that other one doesn't, right? Which means that if they were kind of melted together, fusion together, they would be kind of the ideal striker for Arsenal. But unfortunately, we have to pick and choose either one or the other, which basically either you sacrifice the creative part of the build-up in the attack, or you sacrifice basically the goal. And with Havertz, you do the building aspect good and you sacrifice the finishing aspect once you get chances. With Gyokeres, you have to sacrifice the build-up and you get maybe more stable and better finishing aspect. And in both scenarios, you gain some, you lose some. And for Arsenal, that is very disadvantageous for Arsenal in those terms, for me personally. Arteta likes Swiss Army knife type of players, but if you're a good chef, you don't use Swiss Army knife, you cut the steak. Yeah, true. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, in those terms, yeah. If you are a good chef, you cut the steak with a proper meat cleaver and proper knife and all this stuff. And we just don't have that, do we? We just don't have that. Because I was a big fan of Gabriel Jesus. I'm going to be honest with you. I was a big fan of Gabriel Jesus when he was at Man City, right? Obviously, in Man City, still, I believe that he is better at wing than at striker. But when he played at striker before he got injured in Qatar, right, you could see that there was something to that style of play. You could see that having a player with great technical ability and good passing allows us to create much more dangerous chances. And he got injured, and that was all she wrote, pretty much, right? And if we are looking from Arsenal's perspective, I would put a strong argument that the best striker, number 9, we could have signed for that spot, if you want kind of the best of both worlds, at least looking at this right now, is Julian Alvarez, ironically enough. But obviously, Atletico Madrid want like 120 million for him right now or something stupid like that. I think Julian Alvarez, would have been arguably the best of both worlds if we want to have the creative part, technical aspect, dribbling ability, plus the finishing ability. I would say Julian Alvarez was the best answer in those terms. Because with the two strikers we have, well, 3 if you count Merino, you have either or. And Merino is not even a striker. You still lose something in those. But yeah, as Views is fond of saying, Arteta turns players into spork. Yo, man called me Robbie, this is not AFTV, right? Just kidding. Just kidding. Literally just kidding. But yeah. Oh, second half just started. By the way, let's take a quick sidestep and look into international games because, well, we can. Let's just put it that way. Yeah, big up to you. Big up, EW. Big up, big up, big up, big up. Let's look at the World Cup qualifiers because we need to take a bit of a sidestep. I'm not gonna lie, it's been raining in Latvia for a week. On and off for last 4 days, but during the weekend, right? It was hella strong wind that roofs got lifted off houses, right? It weren't no tornadoes, nothing like that, but there were winds that lifted roofs of the houses, right? And it was breaking trees. They were falling out of the ground with their roots and everything. And the rain was genuinely disgusting. Like in the last few days, it has calmed down quite a bit, but it's still raining on and off. You have strong winds on and off, and it's hella cold. I'm not gonna lie. It literally today it was 8 degrees outside, right? But due to the wind, it feels like there are 2 degrees or 1 degree outside. And this is one of those nasty weathers where basically you get sick all the time, which is not great. I'm not gonna lie. But yeah, if we look at international games, Andorra is drawing with Serbia, which you don't see too often. Obviously, the way Andorra plays, it's kind of annoying and disgusting, but it is what it is. And to be honest, even Serbia didn't score the goal. It was an own goal, so Serbia could have actually been losing at halftime. Ireland still 0-0. Italy is winning against Israel. Let's see. Retegui scored a penalty. Calafiori is playing center back, people. Calafiori is playing center back for Italy. Cauliflower is at center back. Interesting. Very interesting. Cauliflower is at center back for Italy. Very, very interesting. Very interesting. Let's just put it that way. Latvia still losing 3-0. I expect this game to finish like 5-0. I expect that. Have England made any substitutions? Has Tuchel made any subs at halftime? No subs at halftime. No subs at halftime. Sadly. So Saka and what's its face? Rice are still on the pitch. Portugal beating Hungary 2-1. Cristiano Ronaldo has scored 2 goals. He's still suing all across the pitch. Spain still 1-0, and of course Turkey are still beating. Turkey are still beating to 3. Turkey are still beating Georgia 3-0 during half time. Let's just put it. But yeah, you could cosplay Calafiori for next Halloween. Just get a proper wig and Arsenal kit. I have an Arsenal kit, but he would be in the black and gold one from like 3 years ago. He would be in that kit. But yeah, no thanks. No thanks. I'm not a horse. I am as tall as him. I'm taller than Calafiori, to be honest. If I'm not, how tall is Calafiori? Is Calafiori 6'2" or 6'3"? Yeah, Calafiori is my height, 6'3". Well, yeah, Calafiori is my height. He's 6'3", so I'm almost there. I'm literally almost there. Let's just put it that way. But we'll see how that goes. But yeah, the Gyokeres stuff, I think the roughest talk about Gyokeres, we're going to have an on and off talks about Gyokeres all the games we are coming up, basically. Because if we look at Arsenal's schedule for the upcoming games, right, we're going to look at this and then we're going to discuss this as well, right? For the upcoming games, right, Arsenal have Fulham away, Atletico Madrid at home, Palace at home, Brighton at home, Burnley away, Slavia Prague away, and Sunderland away. This is before the November international break, right? We have 4 games in Premier League, 2 in Champions League, and 1 in Carabao Cup. So we have 7 games before the November international break. We're going to talk about Gyokeres and his performances on and off during these weeks. I already can tell you that much. But I think during next November international break, depending on how it goes for Gyokeres, we most likely either are going to have very, very rough talks, or we are going to have very positive talks. There will be no in between. There will be no in between. I think the schedule until November international break is very favorable for Gyokeres to score at least 5-6 goals without shadow of a doubt. The issue with this is, based on the previous games against teams like West Ham, Port Vale, and all these teams, he hasn't scored. And that for me is the other worry. Now, will Arteta figure something unique out? Unlikely, but hey, we can dream, of course. We can definitely dream. We'll see. Big up Andrew, being held up by a passion project of mine. Don't have much time to dive into discussions, but I already know I agree with you mostly, maybe 95%. Big up, Andrew, big up. What's your passion project? What is your passion project you're working on? Because those are some of the best things you can do. I'm not talking about this just because it's international break still, but in general in your life. If you have passion projects, that is one of the best things you can do. You could argue that my passion project at the moment is streaming because I absolutely love it. Yesterday I did a massive deep dive into analytics. I deep dive into some articles, why certain things are happening on YouTube right now that many streamers and YouTubers in general are complaining about, are talking about, have issues with, and are very happy about. And that was one of the best times I had yesterday. Like, for me, definitely. If Gyokeres gets 5 or 6 chances in each of those games, he misses all of them, then we'll be worried. 100%. But I know for a fact he'll be lucky to get 1 of 2 in any of those games. Exactly. Because against teams like, against maybe not Palace at home, even though Palace at Emirates should be a win, based on last year, wouldn't be so sure, but it is what it is. But against teams like Burnley, although, again, Burnley parked the stinkiest of low blocks against Liverpool, and it took them to 96-minute penalty or something weird like that even for them to actually get the win. Against teams like Burnley, Sunderland, even Fulham away, and Crystal Palace at home, Gyokeres should be bagging at least a goal in each of those games. For me, as I said, during November international break, we will have some serious talks about Gyokeres. Already telling you this right now, because we will talk about him on and off during the game weeks, but the big one's gonna be happening during international break, next one, right? And if Arsenal and Gyökeres do things properly, we will be talking very positively about Gyokeres during November international break, without shadow of a doubt. But based on the first 7 games, I have to admit that I'm worried, very worried, that Gyokeres might, at best case scenario, after 12 games, not 12, 11 games, sorry, after 11 games in Premier League, be on like 4 or 5 goals. That is the most realistic scenario based on the first 7 games, unfortunately. Because in an ideal scenario, Gyokeres scores at least 4 or 5 goals in these 4 games in Premier League we'll have till November break, and he will have 8 goals, 7 or 8 goals out of 11 games. The talk about Gyokeres will be much, much, much more different. Let's just say it as it is. The thing is, do I see it happening? Unfortunately, I don't. Based on the previous results, previous outputs, and previous game, let's just say, scouting and analyzing the games about Gyokeres' movements, the creating for Gyokeres and how he fits into the link-up play, I think we will have very tough, very rough, and very painful talks about Gyokeres next November window. There is a big possibility of that. At the moment, I would say it's about 70% chance that we're going to have very, very, very dark talks about Gyokeres at the moment. I actually started a week after Madueke's transfer and abandoned it. Basically, it's a shameless video parody of that transfer and fans' perception of that move. Silly stuff, but when an idea gets into your head, and it's itching, it's nonstop. Yeah, it's one of those. Okay, people, I want to ask you, you want to watch a video with me, a YouTube short? You want to watch with me a YouTube short? Because this is a nuts one. This is definitely a nuts one if you ask me. Definitely a nuts one if you ask me. This is how long is it? It's 2 minutes, you know. It's 2 minutes. Merino scored a brace. Holy moly. We have a striker. If Gyokeres doesn't score, we can put Merino there. Okay, people, I'm going to show you a YouTube short. Let me know what you think about this. Okay? Let me know what you think.
Start for these all-time football clubs. Does William Saliba start in the 04-05 Chelsea team?
Yes, over Carvalho, innit? Yeah.
I am backing it, you know, but Carvalho was outrageous. No, you know what? Them two together, they were a deadly duo. But
imagine John Terry and Saliba, bro. They're not, bro. That conceded record would have gone all the way down.
They
to
conceded
5.
15. I'm gonna say no.
Does William Saliba start for the Real Madrid 3-peat Champions League team, 2016 to 2018?
But Saliba would be Varane's age right now when he was doing that 3-peat, innit?
I'm going yes. Saliba's better than Varane.
Or Sergio Ramos. Is he better than Sergio Ramos?
No. Maybe it could be, but I'm going Varane. Yeah.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna go. He's gonna
Saliba.
start for Varane.
Does William Saliba start for the Man City Centurions team?
Who was that?
I'm gonna go.
Wait, who?
Yes, I'm gonna go yes.
Oh, yes, bro. Yes, bro. Easy peasy. There's no. Oh my days. Yes, bro. Yes,
Just relax. So they're good players.
Saliba's clear, bro.
Does William Saliba start for the Arsenal Invincibles?
Colo Touré. I'm looking at Colo Touré, bro. I really think. You see, if Saliba wins a Prem and the Champs, or if he wins the Champions League, I genuinely think he becomes our best centre back of all time. He needs a trophy, like a big trophy, a major trophy, and he becomes.
I'm going yes.
I'm going yes,
100%.
Does William Saliba start for Barcelona's treble-winning team in 09?
I'm looking at Puyol PK. I think
that's tough.
Yaya Touré started the final?
But I think
you know what? Yeah, it's depending. I'm gonna go yes.
Who does he start over though? I think he starts with Puyol.
But Puyol is different. It's leader, isn't it?
What am I hearing?
Saliba over Puyol, you know.
Is it fries and bag right now? Is it fries and bag time? Yeah, I think it's fries and bag time. But I'm gonna go yes because I'm delusional.
Yes, bro. It starts with Puyol.
Flipping hell.
Come for me, bro. Pause.
What? Does William Saliba start?
Well, at least they admitted that they're delusional, right? But holy F me. Big up BBK, big up Taran. Hope you're doing well. Go subscribe to BBK Sports as well, people. Big up AFC always. Hope you're doing well. Saliba would make bench of the Invincibles team. Potentially, yes. There's a term in German. Oi, Joptik. Fremdschämen. Yeah. These some Gooners don't know ball. The fact that Saliba starts over Carlos Puyol in Barcelona's treble-winning team came out of their mouths is just insane to even think about. The fact that Saliba is better than Varane, that Real Madrid team that won Champions League 3 years in a row, the fact that Saliba starts over Carvalho, and if he starts, their defensive record is not the 15 goals, it's only 5, and all this stuff. What are we? What? I saw this today, and I nearly lost my mind. Seriously, I nearly lost my mind when I was watching this. 4-0 England. Holy crap. 4-0 England. Oh, we scored an own goal. Hey. Saka is off for Bowen. Rice is off for Henderson, and Eze is on for Rodgers. So 2 Arsenal players have come off, and 1 Arsenal player has gone on the pitch. Let's just put it that way. But holy crap. These are the reasons why we cannot have nice things as a fan base, as BBK is saying. This is why this fan base is unbearable. This is why we cannot have nice things. This is why everyone hates us. Exactly. Ultimately, yeah, it's absolutely insane. I think you know that, Sarnovo. It's more known as Spanish shame Norwegians. Ooh, interesting. Just trying to think about German and everything, you know. I just found out we have our own Beavis and Butthead in Gooner world. Basically, yeah, basically. But yeah, it is what it is. But yeah, people, I think on that note, I'm going to end today's stream. Big up to you all for being here. Big up for the chats. Big up for opinions. Big up for discussions. You have been all amazing. If you haven't already, like the stream. Subscribe if you are new, of course. Have a nice evening. Have a nice day tomorrow. Hopefully, I'm going to see you tomorrow evening as well. But for today, I'm going to go relax. I'm going to go watch us concede at least 2 more goals. It looks like it could be like 6-0 at the end. But yeah, for now, I am signing off. So have a great evening. Have a nice time. Enjoy your day tomorrow. And see you very, very, very soon. Peace.